Tempe, Arizona.
All right, let's go ahead and get started, guys. Welcome to the Friday Mastermind. Every Friday, we are here with amazing guests to bring whatever we think is most important for loan officers. Actually, not loan officers, mortgage advisors. One of our goals is to turn every loan officer in America into a data-driven advisor. So, Todd, welcome to the call. And anything you want to say before we bring in our amazing guest?
Well, I'd be remiss if the Friday before the Super Bowl, I just didn't wish my Eagles good luck. And I think really, I'm seeing thumbs up and thumbs down behind the scenes. It's all right. We can all be friends, but I feel like that, they exemplify what we want our modern mortgage advisors to all be like. And I think, Dave, the number one question that I've gotten this past week was when I was talking to community members about the Modern Mortgage Summit that's 1 month away, that I was shocked that they have not quite gotten our messaging. Now, there's actually a live component. We still have a handful of seats left for people to actually be in the studio with all of our rockstar real estate presenters, rockstar loan presenters. They're all going to be there live with us. That part won't be on video. And I just encourage you all. I feel like everyone needs a shot in the arm right now to gain some momentum as we head into spring buying season. And I just feel like that if you have the budget, that you should consider flying to Vegas, spend that day live with all of us. You'll be eating breakfast, lunch, happy hour afterwards with all of us and the speakers. And then for those in our community who want no extra charge, I'm going to be hosting a mastermind for any attendees on Friday morning who want to be part of really an implementation session, right? How to take what we learned and what people have shared with us, and then how to take action on it and then learn from each other. So that can be really powerful. I'm super excited for that part of it as well.
Who wouldn't want to spend the day and hang out with us, right?
I don't know that I'm not going to take credit for myself, Deborah, but I certainly am stoked to hang out with these people that you all see on the screen who are the speakers, because I know that I become better to help all of you and to sharpen all of you when I spend time with them focused on it, versus the virtual event's going to be great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the virtual tickets for those without budget, I think, is super important, but it's all the distractions. I think it's going to be really difficult for anyone who is watching it from their office, their home, to be all in all day, but you're not going to have a choice when you're sitting in the big leather kickback chairs that we have there and you are part of that community. You're just not going to, have a choice but to absorb all of that greatness.
So Deborah, before you frame it, I've been getting a lot of questions too, guys. So it is March 9th. Stop texting me and asking me what day it is. It is March 9th, and share the word, let everybody know. There will be, amazing top producers. They'll all be in one place. So I've never seen this particular group of people all under one roof at the same time. And it's not like it's a 1,000-person event. So it's you won't see them. It's 60 people. It's intimate. And again, to be in that room, it's expensive. It's $2,500 plus your travel, plus to stay the night. It is an expensive money, and it is an expensive travel, but it's going to be great to be there. And then, of course, we're never going to sell this one out. $100 virtual pass, and we've got deals if you want to buy a bunch of passes. And we always sell a ridiculous number of that. And so we are selling a lot of those tickets, but and then remember, we've got a lot of great real estate agents in this room too. So not only will you have top producing mortgage professionals, you're going to have #1 realtor in America and a lot of top professionals. So check it out, link down below. Deborah, anything you want to add on or frame before we bring on our special guest today?
Well, just to highlight the fact that if you are going to attend virtually, which I really hope that if you're not attending live, that you would consider attending virtually, because remember, this is a great opportunity to have a watch party. Go get a theater, go get your office. This is when you can be intentional with the calls that you're making to real estate agents, that you can put butts in seats. Because remember, the Modern Mortgage Summit is in the morning and the Modern Real Estate Summit is in the afternoon. So now is the time when you want to start getting your invites, together, have your RSVP strategy in place, make sure you have your venue, but we're 4 weeks away. So leverage this as, again, your reason to reach out to real estate agents with something of value, and, blow it up, have a watch party, make it memorable, and impact lives, create new partnerships.
All right, guys. So if you have questions, comments, let us know. There is a link to sign up in whether you're watching this in Zoom or you're watching this on YouTube or you're watching the recording on YouTube. We'll have a link down below to get signed up. So, you know, in the spirit of something that I'm going to be talking about all year long, I am going to be talking about what it means to be a data-driven advisor. And there's a compass, you know, going north, the North Star, you got to be a mortgage coach. You got to deliver advice at the point of sale. Going south, the access of the world as a mortgage professional, turn your database into a data bank. Going south and, you know, co-host Mr. Win by Noon, know your numbers, you know, what's your conversion rate? You know, how big is your database? You know, all the metrics that guide your day and your week, know them, and Win by Noon. We are a Win by Noon community. We wear Win by Noon shirts. All these shirts can be purchased on the Win by Noon store. But guys, today we're going to go west. You know, we're going to like know the data, educate with the data. Like that is what a data-driven mortgage advisor does. To help us go through that, we've got two amazing guests. Scott Nicholson, in the spirit of the Super Bowl, is going to be in the second half. Deborah is going to be the halftime show, and Scott, you're going to be the second half game. And Todd Ballenger, the mortgage professor, someone for 3 decades I have gone to as someone like when I want to innovate, when I want to know what's going on, I call the professor. He's actually a real live professor at the North Carolina University. And when it comes to turning financial literacy and turning numbers into a competitive advantage for lenders and loan officers, like there's no one better at doing that. So Todd, walk us through some of the data, some of the numbers that will help us get more referrals from realtors.
All right. Sounds like fun. I run the risk of you guys thinking I'm an economics person, which I'm not, but I do love data. I will say that I specifically love visual data. And the thing I'll tell you about data is there's 2 pathways with data. You can try to use data to tell your story, or you can look at the data and see what is the data telling you, what's the story that the data is saying. And we're going to take that approach today. I look at a lot of data. I'm interested in that data, and I'm kind of looking for what story is it telling. And the story we're going to tell today is the story of 2 bottoms. And I want to explain this a little bit more detail. Some people ask me about this. What do you mean by the first bottom and the second bottom? And this is a little chart that we put out a while back to help people understand the cycle of a housing market. And we're going to use data to look at the consumer health, the market health, and then we're going to look at your health. And by your health, I'm going to say, as a loan officer and a realtor, how is the market health, how is the consumer health going to affect your health, your financial health and well-being? But this is important to understand the stages of a market cycle. When we move into a downward cycle, and the first thing we're going to look is what caused that. What happens in stage 1 is there's a weakness of sentiment. People start to say, ooh, is now not a good time to buy a house? Should I wait, etc. And when that happens, traffic slows. And when traffic slows, market activity overall drops. And when that happens, there's fewer buyers, there's fewer sellers, house prices start to fall. And when house prices fall, we see headlines that say house prices are falling. And what does that do? It decreases the sentiment. It further reduces traffic. It further reduces housing activity, and prices fall further. So when they say there's 2 bottoms, the first bottom is when activity picks up, and the second bottom is when house prices rise. So we're looking for the inversion of this to start to happen. That's how we know things are really turning around. So we're going to look at the market health first and say, what is the market health right now? And I want to say, what caused this to shift? Because we were in the green cycle where strength in the housing market led to traffic, led to multiple bids on every house, led to what? House prices going up, real estate was great, market's great, and that has gotten shocked. It got shocked because we saw something incredible happen with real estate, and interest rates were raised dramatically. And this house buying power is directly indexed to what? To this cost of home ownership, and that's driven by interest rates. So these cycles are constantly happening. And this was a cycle that the first time I saw it, I knew it immediately. I could see it in so many different things I was involved with. But the challenge and the important thing of seeing this cycle is people are excited. They want to buy stocks here, but that's the point of maximum financial risk. They want to get out of the market and say, it's time to change careers. This sucks here, but you're at the point of maximum financial opportunity. So I believe at one level, this is what Dan and I talked about in our last call, the stock market is still in this area, but the housing market is down here. It's really frustrating a lot of people because of the speed that so many things have actually moved. And some people don't realize how bad it's gotten on a relative basis. If you weren't around in 2008, and many of us lived through that cycle, we are below that cycle right now in terms of home sales. So again, when you start to look at this and you say, where are we right now? We're not up here. We were here. We've been kind of moving through this emotional kind of place here to where we're, I can't do it anymore. And capitulation is when everyone just says the hell with it, they get depressed, but then suddenly what starts to happen? We start to see a little bit of hope. So the data is actually telling us we're probably somewhere in this area right now because we're already overshooting to the downside for a number of reasons. Again, when this happens, right, this interest rate fall off happens, and we look at where we are right now, this is where people believe interest rates are going. This is where we are now. This is a week ago. When we look at this June, July, August, September, December, you'll notice something starting to happen. People are starting to see us back below 3% in 2025 as an actual interest rate. And they're mapping that out in a variety of ways, again, in terms of peaking. And right now, this peak this is May of 2023. That's a couple of months away. And you'll notice we hold and then we start to drop off. So when you're planning and you're thinking about your business, one thing this tells me is if I was a farmer, I'd be working right now to get ready. I'd be working on my tractors, my grain silos, all the things that I'm going to need to be able to blow it out when the market turns. Don't waste a lot of energy right now frustrated by the market. The market's always right. It's going to do what it's going to do. And by all practical terms, the market's really resilient compared to how it broke down in the past. And this is another key thing to think about in terms of the market is we've never seen inflation come down when the Fed funds rate was below inflation. And you notice we just crossed here. Fed funds rates have now increased above the current core price of inflation. So this is going to start allowing them to pause and again go the other way. And as we're going to look at a slide in a minute, there's also an inversion happening where as they raise rates, mortgage rates are starting to come down. And that happens at the end of these cycles. So the last thing on the market, again, look back at 2006. This is before the crisis. You already saw bankruptcies shooting up and they went up and they went up and they continue to go up. And we saw this happen in the tech cycle here as all these tech companies that did so well blew out. Notice bankruptcies, personal and business bankruptcies are at all-time lows. This is not a weak economy. This is a market that is still under the surface very, very strong. So the market is made up of consumers. So how are the consumers doing? What does their health look like? I mean, last year was a really crappy year, right? Well, let's look at it. In reality, the S&P was down 18%. So it's nowhere near where it would typically sell off in a bear market. And we've seen a lot of that recover this year. But housing was still up 10% last year. You wouldn't look at this and say, oh my gosh, what a bad year for housing. Well, if you told me my house was going to be up 10% in a bad year, I'd say that's pretty good. And all real estate is local, but this is part of the wealth dynamic. If my house goes up 10% in value and my stocks go down 18%, I feel 8% less wealthy because all of this is part of my overall wealth. And when we look at the consumer and we look at the market, this is the balance sheet of the United States. We hit a record $150 trillion in wealth in the United States in this past year, and it's pulled off some. But look at the wealth of the individual real estate owner in the United States. That graph's a little different. People that own real estate have $29.56 trillion of wealth inside of their residential real estate. And a lot of that is held by seniors. Almost 13 trillion of that is held by seniors. And we could have an whole other conversation on that, but I'm actually a professor at Varsmart University, and what we're talking about is the incredible opportunity to manage wealth for seniors, because they're going to see those stocks going down and likely going to see real estate continuing to go up. And that increases their equity. And the average homeowner in the United States this past year has $257,000 in equity in their house. So again, at one extreme, this is kind of like a barbell example, but at one extreme, you have people that are really struggling. 46% of Americans are struggling to make their mortgage payment. On the other extreme barbell, you have incredible wealth, incredible equity, all this other stuff working. So this is one of the reasons you're seeing a lot of challenges and a lot of disparity. But consumers are working. We just saw a record print in employment. We see what happened in the prior recession and how long it took us back to get back to where we were. We are above where we were, and we got back there almost immediately. It was like a spring, down and up. And much of that is caused by these interest rate cycles, which are driving what's happening in the mortgage industry right now. A violent exchange of interest rate change that has led to a violent sort of reaction in real estate and mortgage lending. But yet, even with all that, we're at record low employment, big job gains, corporations are having record profits. And you can see this reflected in the consumers out there. The ones that are struggling are using consumer credit to make ends meet. And that, unfortunately, is a very, very difficult spiral to get out of, because as as risk goes up, because more consumers are using credit, the way that the banks offset that risk is with higher interest rates to offset their defaults. So as people are using more credit, interest rates on credit cards are also going up. And that makes it really difficult on this other extreme. But still, we've seen very little in the way of defaults, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And there's very little expected to be there in defaults. So you've got a really strong market overall, financial stock market, and a really sort of a tale of two markets. The real estate market's gotten hammered in a way because of inventory and all of these other things that are happening. But it's in a different cycle. It's most likely at that bottom, and to see it bottom, and this is where your health comes in right now. You know, if I could be a fairy angel and come in and say, well, what does it take for you to feel more optimistic about your future? And as a realtor or as a lender, you have to ask yourself, well, this is the only way that can happen. And it's the reverse of the cycle we started with. You've got to see strengthening of housing sentiment. And if you started to notice how before it was rates were 2% 6 months ago, now they're at 7%. That's negative sentiment. Now you're seeing people say rates were at 7% and now they're below 6%. That is strengthening sentiment. It's just a shift in bias, but you're starting to talk about, and you start to see articles like the one this morning in Housing Wire saying bidding wars are starting up again. Okay, whether that's true or not, and it's obviously going to be by market, that's a strengthening statement. When consumers see that, they start to get, ooh, maybe we should go look now. Maybe we should stop waiting. And that starts to increase traffic. And as that traffic picks up, you'll start to see activity increase. You'll start to see multiple offers. You'll start to see flooring of listing prices not being reduced. And then you'll start to see house prices rising again. And when people see house prices going up, what do? I can't wait anymore. I got to get in there. I've got to start making an offer. I've got to find something. If you saw KB Homes or Horton, one of the big ones came out and said 58% of their active contracts canceled. And then they came out the next month and said almost 60% of those came back and said, we still want to go through with the house, right? So this is volatility, it's flip-flopping, but you have to ask yourself, can I be more optimistic about the future? Are we going to move into an upward cycle? Well, this is how it starts to happen. So you have to look and say, is there room for home ownership to increase? It's steady, but yeah, there's plenty of room for it to increase. We still have to work through this inventory issue, but we have record starts, we have record supplies. That was something I saw the other day, record lumber, record stockpiling of supplies, because those builders are starting to build up supplies to be able to ramp up to take care of interest rates. There's still challenges. This is fascinating, but there were no homes sold last month under 200,000. If you go to 300,000, 11% were sold. Most of the houses being sold are in the higher end. So that's going to create a lot of opportunities. And this is one that's kind of worth studying. But if you look to the impact and the shock you're dealing with, look at the shock for the consumer, 2021, 22, 23. Look at the payment shock for basically the same house that they're coming to go through. These are extreme outliers. These things are normally clustered tightly together, and we see little small, half a standard deviation moves. These are 3 and 4 standard deviation moves just between 2022 and 2023. So again, when you see a standard move like that, that's a shock, it tends to also correct in the same way. It doesn't usually sit there for 6 years. It tends to move back and revert to the mean over a fairly quick period of time. But it has to start somewhere. And we're starting to, for example, see that inventory is not dropping the way it used to. We see that people are starting to look at shocks in the market and say, wait a minute, if house prices decline 15% from here, we'd still only have 3.5% of Americans underwater on their mortgage. Wow, that's not at all like 2008, 9, and 10, where we got to 30% of Americans were upside down on their mortgages. And you start to look at this resetting of price in your mind, 7% felt horrible. But we can see John Burns again with this chart showing that the percentage of Americans that would transact at 6.99, at 5.99, at 4.99. So we sort of start dropping here. We get a little psychologically under that magic 6 number. We've opened the market up to about 36% of the people on the wings. If we drop through this gap down to the 4s again, which we saw earlier, we're talking about 3s again in the next 12 months based on what economists believe is going to happen. We do that, the purchase market starts to get really, really opened up. Now you're looking at 60, 70% of the purchase market starts to unlock. And refinances are going to take a while. These are people with this is the percentage of population with an incentive to refinance. You'll notice when rates drop down here to 3%, it was over 80% of the population had an incentive to refinance. Right now, we're at 0. So you're going to have to focus on the purchase market, and the only market that you can make for yourself for refinances is going to come from people that need cash out. For example, when you look at refinance activity, some cash out versus no cash out, people that are refinancing right now are doing it at higher interest rates. That means they have a real need. So if you want to look at the refinance segment of the marketplace, you've got to make a market by helping people that have a real need take advantage of that. Divorces, debt consolidation, a need for business funding and things like that. But largely that population is going to take quite a while, and rates will have to come down again to here before they start to have a financial incentive to do something. I'll prove it to you here. It's one of my favorite new graphs from New River Invest. This is showing the debt that was originated and what paid it off. So you'll notice these are 2% loans and 2.5% loans, and they were paying off 5, 4.5, 3.5, 3, and 2.5 debt. Notice what's starting to happen here. 6, 6.5, 7% debt is paying off 2, 2.5, 3% debt. That's when you start to see a flip, right? Because people are starting to say, I can't wait anymore. I got to buy the bigger house. So again, it takes a while, but these shifts happen psychologically, and they happen through activity. And eventually you're going to see, again, over time, this lower debt will start to get paid off because of life events. But if I was betting, it would not be the refi. That's going to take a while for that to come back unless you can make a market, refinancing to reverse for a senior, things where there's new debt being created. On the purchase side, that's where the opportunity is really going to come from. And this is where we're seeing the shift. There's a shift in rates coming down. And with those rates coming down, again, we see the direct correlation. Applications are going up. We see home purchased in cash still going up. This number should start to roll over, and we start to see price stabilizing. Again, the average median house price, this median house price number is starting to go up again. It's been going down since July. It's starting to turn up. So notice these cycles, how clean these cycles are. This doesn't typically go here and go like this, right? If you follow the cycle, you would expect this to cycle back up, which means we would have a new high in pricing this time next year. That's going to be an incentive. And people realize that, and buyers are supporting prices. And again, when I look at listing agreements after going down all of last year, we're starting to see listing agreements go up, meaning that the price increases of the listing agreements is starting to happen. We're starting to see family houses sold in the US turning, double bottoming. That's to double bottom, down, down. I'm starting to move up again, says Mr. House Price. So these are all green shoots that start to let us say, you know, we may not be there 100%, but what is everything starting to do? It's found its bottom and it's starting to turn up. And this is one of the most important things, that at the end of a cycle, Fed rates are still going up. Notice what happened to the 10-year yield and the 30-year mortgage, but notice what's happening now. The Fed says we're going to keep raising rates. People are like, oh no, don't do that. But it's actually okay, because you start to have something happen here where the 10-year is coming down. They're discounting those rates and the 30-year mortgages as well, meaning that it may not matter anymore. The Fed could continue to raise rates and we could still keep seeing the 30-year and the 10-year come down. And the last slide is simply, the other thing is people are going to have to get over it, because historically, we are still well below the average. And we've continued to be, even where we are right now, well below the historical average of mortgage rates. So this psychological reset of this sort of past period of 10 years at 6.3, and then, you know, again, a 9-year period, an average of 4.1, and a 2-year average of 3.9. Again, that's extremely low. You kind of have to say, all right, we got to get over this and accept the fact that this is not normal. Rates are going to move up. People are going to start transacting again at higher interest rates. And for you as a realtor and a lender, I'd tell you that this is the cycle that we want to see compounding the other direction. It's starting to move in that direction. And typically once it gets turned around through a shock of inventory or sentiment, or just, I got to do something, I can't wait anymore, that spring can only compress for so long, then it starts to expand and we start moving in the other direction. So I stop there.
Stop sharing your screens. Everyone who asked, we put these slides in chat. I'm going to show how to take action on this, and then we'll go to Todd, Deborah, and then we'll bring on the man, the myth, Scott Nicholson. So guys, to leverage everything you just heard, one, you need to be able to deliver the data in a super sharp, super concise way to realtors and to consumers. And you also need to have a database where you don't have a bunch of questions in it. Like if your database, it looks like this versus this, you have a disadvantage going forward. Remember what he showed you is 63% of every mortgage in America starts with 2 or 3, and another 20% starts with 4. So no longer rates aren't going to go down to 2% again. And if they do, we got bigger problems, and the fish will just be jumping into the boat again. But let's assume the fish aren't going to jump into the boat, and we actually have to go out and find the ship. You know, we need a sonar. Find the fish. And the thing we're dedicating here in this no borrower left behind community is literally going from a data insight, like here's a family that could do a cash out. Here's a family that looks like a move-up buyer. 2, we got to give more data to the consumer. We got to give them insights. And so, you know, one thing that's trending right now in our no borrower left behind community is listing alerts. You know, what we're seeing people do is, oh, I got a listing alert. Let's put a TCA together for the agent and say, hey, agent, here is a way that we can help you sell this home. Let's every listing alert, let's create a total cost analysis, and let's put a video on it and say, hey, I've got some strategies to help you sell this home faster. And if that listing's been on the market for a month, hey, I've got some strategies to help reduce the pain of a price exception, or excuse me, a price reduction, and create a second TCA for the seller of that home. Hey, seller, you're going to buy a 20%, 30% bigger home. Let me share some strategies for that. Cash out, like Todd made the case that there's more consumer debt than ever. It's more expensive than ever. There's more equity than ever. let's identify those, and we do that for you here. We'll identify it, and then we'll create a total cost analysis for you. Like the machine is like your assistant, where it starts the TCA, and we're only going to get smarter. Like right now, it's just like digital assistant 101, starts it. But guys, if the machine can beat a world champion chess player at chess, the machine can create a really good TCA, and it's just going to get smarter and smarter. And guys, as rates start to come down, you need to be able to identify who's in the money, who actually qualifies for a rate and term refi. I mean, one of the things we do at Sales Boomerang is we'll tell you, hey, the equity, they got the FICO score, they got the home value, the rate makes sense. This person is a rate and term refi. Here is a TCA to go deliver to that family. So it's never been more important that you have the data, and it's never been more important that you have ability to get to the data. Because here's the reality, guys. Technology and online lenders are not going to kill loan officers, but loan officers that are, using data, that know how to educate with data, know how to be at the right place at the right time with data, they already are taking market share from loan officers that don't. So real quick, guys, so that we leave time for Scott. Todd, any questions for Todd?
No, I just want to say thanks. That was awesome. And I will save my comments for the end so Deborah can speak it up.
Deborah,
Well,
questions, comments?
So of course, I'm going to add, using this data on social media and sharing this story and kind of normalizing the fact that you may be someone out there who's carrying a bunch of credit card debt. I know money's not often something that people like to talk about, but this is why it's so important to be consistent with your content marketing and using the data in your reels, in your YouTube shorts. Because otherwise, when you're a talking head, you have to know people look at you like you're still a salesperson. You're still a loan officer. And when has any loan officer or real estate agent ever said now is not a good time to buy? Chances are, because you have a commission, people are thinking that in their head. But when you can put data and use some of these graphics that Todd just shared in between your reels that you're creating, it just gives you more validity and shows that you're an expert, that you study your craft, that you're a professional, not an amateur. And then you're going to the masses where most people are spending their time, and that's on social media. So,
Deborah, quick favor. Would you mind looking at that deck and picking the one or two slides, data points that you think are most social notable, and then maybe even sharing like a cool little image in our Facebook group, and hey guys, here's the DebX top two, and maybe give them some advice on how to promote them. You cool with that?
absolutely. Would love to.
All right. And Todd, before you jump, if anyone wants to follow you online, everyone wants to learn how to, you said you're the professor of the Borrow Smart, and also I know you've got a certification, certified liability advisor. Would you mind telling people how to learn more about you?
Sure, man. Come to Borrow Smart University, sign up for the blog. I post quite a bit there. You can link out to our Facebook page where I do a lot of chart posting and things. But again, the data is really important. Everything they've said here is totally important. But you got to learn to talk to this, tell a story. People buy into stories, and this is just data. But Dave's showing you how to use the technology to tie it into the software. You want to be able to tell a story and say, if clients right now have $100,000 in credit card debt at 18%, a mortgage at 2%, they actually have $200,000 of debt at 10%. And I can refinance that today at 6%. That's going to save them 40% of their cash flow. And that 40% of their cash flow could be worth $1 million to them in retirement. Take these things and stage them into narrative arcs and learn how to talk about it. And that's a lot of what we do in our designation. Just teach people how to talk about stuff.
So everybody, the way to say thank you to Todd is go down to that little reaction section, and whatever reaction you have, I know I'm going to give him a heart. Give Todd a real quick emoji reaction. Thank you, my man.
Yep.
You are welcome to stay on this. It looks like you're getting all kinds of emojis, clap hands, fingers up, hearts. Cool. So let's bring on Scott Nicholson. To me, Scott Nicholson is just, he's born to make complex concepts simple. That's what his specialty is. He is one of the best I've ever seen at whatever the market trend is. Like, let's take that market trend, let's create data, and then let's help realtors sell homes. Let's help loan officers recruit realtors. He is the founder of Lender Launchpad, which is an incredible technology platform that Scott, like, just his mind's always working like, oh, how can I take a mortgage coach, a YouTube video, a chart from Todd, and put them together in something amazing. So Scott, when you hear all these insights, how are you kind of taking these to market with realtors, and what advice do you have for loan officers? Oh, excuse me, mortgage advisors.
Yeah. So one, it's nice following Todd because it kind of, like you set me up, it's perfect because, you know, Todd's an icon in our industry. He's probably the smartest guy I know too. But I think where the LO needs to be good, and we're the great LO who's like following Todd and borrower smart and all that stuff, is how I can take Todd, nuggets from Todd and slides from Todd, and then just condense it, make it their own, and they become their Todd of the market, so to speak. So that's what we're going to work on today. Was that your question? Did I answer that correctly? I don't know.
You did. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Walk us through how you would take these insights to market, go out there, recruit realtors, help realtors sell more homes, and help buyers in the process.
Well, thanks for, the kind words, Dave, but I think, and that's my goal, is to always simplify. So I actually put a quick little preview up here, or a pick, just to show you exactly what we're going to work on in the second half. So of this game, can you guys see my stuff all right?
Yeah, and by the way, I love it. I love it. 3 easy steps to distribute your content.
Yeah.
I love that. And to me, guys, I would call this 3 easy steps to wow a real estate agent and help a real estate agent get a buyer off the fence and into escrow, or get a seller off the fence and listed. Like, can't wait to see it.
So here's what I'm going to do. So I chunked it down to the 3 steps, right? And then I'm going to show you behind the scenes and how I've also created content that's already out in the market, that's educating and pushing. Also, I'm going to show you how I take Todd's deck that he gave us all, and I'm going to convert it, make it my own, add a bomb, add a YouTube, and I'm a TCA, I should say, and I'm going to market. So let's look at the topics. First, select your topic. What is it? So for example, we're going to focus on Todd's today, right? We'll go real estate / rate market financial update. So there's our topic. I want to dummy it down and then make it my own and push to market. Second, I'm going to gather my resources. So what do I need? I need Todd's deck. I need a bomb or a Loom video, and I need a TCA. And then but here's the point here. Here's a really important part in that third part. This is really where I'm going to help everyone kind of connect the dots, because in the third one, this is where I see the industry kind of fall apart a little bit, because everyone's got topics and ideas and content, right? We all have resources. We all have this technology of MortgageCoach and bomb and all this stuff. But the third element, this is why all the pieces of the puzzle are going to come together for us, because I'm going to help you distribute this to the consumers and to your agents in particular. So let's go ahead. I'm going to show you, pull this down. I'm going to show you the back end. So first thing I did was I downloaded Todd's deck, and then I went into Lender Launchpad. So what you're going to look at is my back end at Lender Launchpad. So I can come in and build a presentation and put all these resources and then push to market together. I cheated a little bit, but I'm going to show you how I made it. Did it this morning just for time's sake. I went ahead and gave it a title. So I'm going to take ownership of Todd right now. Todd was my mentor, right? Todd's the leading experts, but I'm going to take ownership. I don't want to push Todd in my marketplace because I want to own it myself to my agents and my clients. Second, I converted his slides to a PDF. I loaded his deck right there. Next, but this is for you guys, and I'll share this link in the group. I think, Dave, we have it in chat, in the Zoom chat there. You guys can share it to Facebook. But this would be my messaging, right, to my consumer or agent I'm going to go over. But I made notes on here, right? So I selected my topic, which is the market update. I gathered my resources, which is slide, a BombBomb, and a TCA. Then I'm going to distribute to market, and there's the finished product right there. Here's my notes. I was typing away. I was listening to Todd speak. So here's how my LO mind, I can take pieces of the slides in his subject matter, credit card debt, massive equity. What a great pair right there to focus on the slide of the credit card debt and the massive equity. And Todd talked about the TC of doing the blended rate, right? You have a 4%, but 25% credit card. TCAs do a great blended rate analysis. That's what the consumer needs to see from us, is the blended rate, because they're so fixated on the 4%, but yet the 5 and that credit card debt is piling up and strangling that consumer. Next, employment, inflation, inventory, affordability. You can lump bullet 3 and 4 together in 6. You can really go after either a consumer, what I call a re-enter TCA, or an agent showing strength and helping the agent pull their buyers or sellers into the market. So I would combine bullet point probably 3 and 6 together, show them low inventory, show them affordability issues, show them inflation might hang around a little bit, but the employment is substantial in the growth of it. So what I want to show there is, and I'll give you a summary of those 3 bullet points and what presentation I would put out. Number 1, I'm going to show them the health of that market as far as our real estate market. I'm going to show them how I can fix problems with affordability with a temporary buy down or a permanent buy down, and let the consumer choose based on where he or she thinks the market's going to go, right? And then lastly, I thought a huge slide in Todd's deck was that it was a slide by a real estate company that showed it was polling the consumers at what point, what rate would they jump back into the market. And so a lot of them into that 4 range was a huge demographic that was going to go in. Guys, I can get a 4% to a consumer today. Either I can do it with a temporary buy down or a permanent all the way down buy down. So I could fix them. That means I can go ahead and put a presentation together now, gather my content, put a TCA together, and I can go pull that seller right off the fence, right? Get that home listed and then move out. The last one I saw, and I didn't make mention of it, I thought was a really impactful slide in a huge problem. Raheem talked about a little bit. It's the most difficult thing to solve today is the baby boomer that's embedded in their house. And so you're having a lot of headwinds piling up on that homeowner, right? Of health issues, right? Maybe cash flow issues, affordability moving out. So there's a presentation I've been working quietly on the side to deal with those problems, because I use the simple things. What's my topic, right? What's my resources? And then how do I distribute that? And then I moved down. I just made a quick little video on Todd's slide. I added 2 mortgage coach. I gave it a thumbnail, and then I'm out to market to distribute this piece of content. Questions on this so far?
So community, if you have questions or comments, I'm digging it. Deborah, anything you want to call out or comment on?
No, I just want to remind everyone that Scott and I every Tuesday have been going into the Mortgage Coach Facebook community, and we're doing our TCA Tuesday. And Scott, I know this one's not planned for next week, but maybe we could put this on the map to, incorporate it to really help build people, like show them how we build the TCA, which is what those training days are for, as well as how to get more views on your TCA. So just want to remind everyone, make sure you look for those videos. I did put the 2 links in the chat of the last 2 TCA Tuesdays that we've done.
So look, here's what I want to do. So I'm seeing a bunch of hearts, and I want to make sure that if, Scott and Deborah are going to do that there's real value. So here's what I want you to do. Go to reactions right now. And if you're like, hey, that would be valuable to me, give it a thumbs up. Like, I want specifically to know, like, is that a thumbs up that if they did that, that would be value? Okay.
So here's
a lot of thumbs ups.
Okay, there you go. So here's the product I'm pushing out to my agents, right? So I can put the deck in, I can trim the deck down. So there's Todd's stuff. So This could be Dan Rawich's market update. This could be a KCM. This is Ballenger stuff. So I want to take his content, right? Then I just opened a little video. This could be a bomb.
Hey, mortgage coach. So here's kind of behind the scenes a little bit. So
Todd, mute yourself.
I
Todd, could you please mute yourself?
No, that was me.
I know, I was kidding. I was having.
sorry.
Dude, I was good. Don't be calling me out.
For
It was
this
a joke.
call, we got a few minutes, and this is how easy it is.
So right here, I'm taking control of Todd's deck, right? I'm making it my own. And then where I'm pushing him in this short little video, I'm pushing him underneath. I'm pushing it to 2 TCAs. One, I'm teaching a buyer how to go into the marketplace and re-enter, right? And create some affordability. And so I can easily put that TC in, and then I'm have a multi-generational in there. So this is just a demo of that, but this is how easy this is to pull in a deck, make it your own with a bomb or loom, and then put the numbers. They want to see the numbers in your game plan. So I've married all of this stuff together. And then now here's the cool thing. I could take this link, and I think this is another big challenge in our marketplace. So let's say I'm going to text it to myself. This is my agent. Hey, agent, Scott Nicholson. Hey, I know I'm in voicemail, but when I hang up, I'm going to text you a link. I got some important information that is market relevant. That's really going to help either one of your buyers or one of your sellers. And then I'm going to text that link to the phone, and that's what they're going to see. They're going to see that thumbnail. They're going to see my presentation. When they click on it, they're going to now get into it. I think it's an important thing to understand, because if Dave did a great interview with Mr. Keller, of doing the phone calls, right? The problem is when you do so many phone calls, how many are pushed to voicemail? So what's your plan? How many are in do not disturb? So what's your plan? So this is a great second punch to that, a 1-2 punch, meaning let's make the phone call and then let's follow up with a presentation like this that sits right on their phone. That's the thumbnail preview sitting on their phone. I think that's going to open up a lot more doors and have more success with that. And then I want to show you a few more things of just ideas that I've been working on with as far as a topic and going to resources. I'll give an example. What is a huge problem in our industry as far as complexity? And this is the TCA Tuesday we just did for you guys. It's the rate buy downs. Temp this, permit this, how does it work? And so what we did was we put a quick little video together. I did a bomb right over my deck, right? And showing them the difference of it from a high level. But where I pushed them to is I pushed them into my TCAs. And the reason I wanted to go in depth with that. And really
hi, Scott. So in this video, we're going to talk about
how I can help them with the buy down. And guess what I can do with this stuff? I can make this by 2 simple clicks, right? I can take this. This is my public one. I want to make this for my agents. Okay, no problem. I'm just going to go duplicate. I'm going to go hit all of my agent partners right now. I'm just going to edit the title. Let's just put Brad Kerr in there. And I'm going to add an agent in here. Now I can make this Brad Kerr ready, so to speak. And so let's say,
But the importance of this part is, you guys know how agents, their ego, they want to see themselves on this marketing. And this is what Scott is doing, is he's adding, just with the ease of hitting duplicate. Now you can really take this data and help equip your real estate partners that also are still very confused on all the different types of rate buy downs. Like, it is confusing. You hear permanent, you hear temporary, what's, 2-1, and then having the mortgage coaches in there, it helps give the clarity of when you're looking at cost over time, of how you're helping people make the most informed decision for them and their unique needs, but leading with education and leading with data, but also allowing your agents to still look like the star.
And then now watch what I'm gonna do. Hey, Brad, it's Scott. I think it's important that you understand rate buy downs. And so with that, when I hang up, because he pushed me to voicemail again, when I hang up, I'm gonna text you a link that goes into great detail on how I can help your buyers and or sellers in today's market. I customize that for Brad. Oh, I have his name backwards, but that's Brad. And when he clicks onto it, right, this sits on his cell phone. And then now when he clicks into it, I bring him right to his presentation. So now I can have a follow-up conversation and may have a better return chance of me get into a meeting or a phone call. Then I sit down and go over this with Brad. But what does Brad do with this? Brad goes, hot damn, thank you. I'm running out to all of my buyers and allow you to be the master of education, Scott. I'm going to teach them how they can use buy downs, because that's a huge problem in our industry right now. Is there's just, it's a great topic, it's very valuable, but there's so much confusion around it. Does that make sense?
Scott, can you show them the one that you did for TCA Tuesday where you have the example and then your coaching of how you actually build the TCA? Because I get that question a lot from mortgage coach people.
And real quick,
And so
go ahead, Deborah. I didn't mean to cut
I just
you
want to make sure people know that when you scroll down on the bottom on the right, if you're having trouble building out these TCAs, and I know there's daily trainings, which you guys can go to the Mortgage Coach website and attend those trainings, but also show where you teach them step by step how you would build this out on Mortgage Coach.
Right. So this is what it would look like. So this is already posted in Mortgage Coach community. You can find the thumbnail that looks just like this in the post on TCA Tuesday. This was case study number 2. So find this. When you click and open it, that's Deb and I in a Zoom. So we recorded us. She was interviewing me here. But what we did was we posted the actual TCA I went to market with, but I posted a bomb run underneath it to show them how I built it.
Hey, it's Scott. So here are,
and so what these are educational for you guys. So like, shit, how did you do that, Scott? There it is. So I went finish TCA, how I built it. Finish TCA, how I built it. And I just put 3 in here for you. And so I think it's really impactful because a lot of people don't know how to frame these, build them correctly, and so on and so forth.
Will you put that, is that specific link in here, and just let's just call that the how they built this. Also, would you be cool with sharing those the raw videos so I could put those in the YouTube channel as well?
Absolutely. And so what I did, I'll give you these, Dave. So
hey, Spencer, would you come on camera real quick? Guys, Spencer Schultz helps run these calls. He is, chief strategist. I don't know if that's official yet that you're the chief strategist, but he's a strategy specialist here at Mortgage Coach and Sales Boomerang. What do you think, Spencer, that would be cool to put in our YouTube channel, and any thoughts you have on that? And you're on mute, by the way.
Yeah, my apologies. My dog going a little crazy in the background there while we're on, but absolutely, I would love to share some YouTube content as well, and dive into what we have on Sales Boomerang. So I'll share some things in the chat as my puppies are running a little crazy right here. My apologies, but
well, I'll work with you.
And by the way, just so you know, Spencer, we don't hear them. Like sometimes my dogs freak out, and I feel like I just blew up the call and no one can hear it. So the mics are pretty good now.
might be the suppression of Zoom. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's being suppressed. We can't hear a thing over there. So FYI.
So I'll share that with you so we can so that's me training the Lender Launchpad community, right? On Mortgage Coach 101 and Mortgage Coach 201. So I'll share those 2 Zoom calls, training, so you can put those in your library. But again, let's just kind of wrap up because we're getting towards the end. So just I want you to think of the 3 things. What topic can I use to take to market to really educate? What tools do I have at my disposal? Do I have a BombBomb? Do I have Mortgage Coach? Do I have PDF, right? Okay, yeah. But now I'm going to help you with that last piece is distribution. So Lender Launchpad is going to be the distribution hub to bring everything together. You make it your own. I'll give you an example. This is a piece I'm working on right now, loan level price adjustments. What a full cluster that thing is. But also what I see this is as a huge opportunity, right? So I can go ahead and make content with this and help the first-time home buyer, which was the good side to it, but also the bad side to it, how to navigate around those price adjusters that are coming their way to make housing a little bit more expensive. So there's just a high level view of what I can do. So I'll just go ahead and stop there, or if you guys have questions.
Well, let me just kind of put my action plan frame, and then I'll let Deborah and Dave, close it out. So first off, Scott, that was awesome. And I think what you all need to learn from what Scott does is he does a really good job of talking people through the process, right, of education, which is what you all need to do. So first off, that was a great example. He also took what Todd Ballenger did for us at the beginning, and he's making it actionable for all of you. He's giving you an easier distribution system, right? Dave shared all the slides, so you all have access to that. And Dave shared it. So now the question is what action are you going to take with it? Because in the end, imperfect action is better than no action. And then the final thing that I'll say is Dave Savage talked about the data piece of it, right? The fact that Todd Ballenger says that rates are going to go down and that you need to understand your data, your database, your data bank, and know that there's going to be these opportunities. And what I found with the last drop in interest rates is, we were talking about it in this community for more than 6 months prior. Be ready, be ready, be ready. And then I was shocked at how much of our community was like, wow, I'm not ready for it. And so the bottom line is this: we have the crystal ball, right? Dan Rawich laid it out for us last week. Todd Ballenger piled onto that information. And so you know that rates are going to be lower in the future. And so if you're not taking the action to reaching out to your clients today, right now, you want to reach out and connect with them when you're not trying to sell them something, right? Deborah said earlier, everyone views us all as salespeople because we only call people when it's time to sell them. So if you're not taking the time to connect with them now, if you're not taking the time now to organize your data so that it's a data bank, and then when the time comes, use a delivery device like Lender Launchpad to get the information out there quickly to everyone so that you can close more loans in less time. That is what we're all trying to do here in this community.
Deborah, closing thoughts, and then I'll
Well, just,
wrap up.
when we opened the call, it was all about the due west on that compass and knowing the data. And I'm just so grateful for a community like this and for Dave and Todd, both Todds and Scott, for us to have a hub to go to where you can really learn from the best of the best, from professors and, different people who are economists that we had on last week with Dan. So it's one thing to know the data, and you do need to know it. You need to understand what factors, what impacts the data and inflation and rates. But then also, what are your different clubs, to give the whole golf analogy like you guys like to use, of how are you going to then distribute the education? One way is social media. One way is through email distribution. One way is through hosting masterminds and having classes. One way is using Lender Launchpad, so you don't have to have clunky emails with all these attachments. Choose which of these slides was most valuable for you, that you feel most comfortable talking about. And then, like Todd Bookspan said, have a plan next week where you're going to then go and educate based off that data so that people can make more informed decisions. And so you can be the captain of the wealth team and even lead your real estate partners who need leadership right now. They need to also know this data. So use social for good and don't keep this information a secret.
So guys, let's see, go down those little reactions. And if you got value from what Scott said, give him a little applause. I know I'm going to give him a heart because that's how I'm feeling about it. I absolutely loved what you did, Scott. This has been an incredible call. Scott, for anyone that wants to learn more about Lender Launchpad, follow you on social media, how do they do that?
So one, they can connect with me on social media. Two, they just I do demos. I personally do the demos every Tuesday, Thursday at 10 o'clock. So I put a link in there just to make it easy. I mean, the demos are high level, right? You just get to kick the tires and see what I can do and how easy is this? And it's pretty simple. And I think what's important is it's the third bullet point there. It's the distribution. Everyone has topics. We're lucky to be exposed to the Todds of the world, who's going to share some of his stuff, but also getting into Borrow Smart so I could, officially take his stuff, so to speak. And then now use your beautiful software, Dave, and now I can push it. I'm the last piece of the puzzle. That's the whole point here.
All right. Well, we had Todd Ballenger on the whole call. So Todd Ballenger, any final thoughts, anything that you thought is worth calling out here?
No, I'm going to echo everything they're saying anyway. So no, great job. I just love getting people thinking about this stuff. Again, you can use one of those slides. You don't need 50 of them. Just use one or two, tell a simple story and keep telling it.
All right, guys. So as I've said before, this is not just another year in mortgage. Like, guys, it's never been more important that we mastermind with the best. Todd and I are going to be at this event. We're going to be hosting it. It's going to be a very special room. If you have already signed up or you're going to sign up, give me a thumbs up. I just want to get a feel for what percentage of the folks on this call are like, game on, I'm coming to this event. Good. We got a good number. We look forward to those that are going to be in person. For those that watch it digitally, no problem. You know, get the word out. As Deborah said, have a watch party. Bring this to Realtors. What's up, Victoria? Can't wait to see you as well. So anyways, I am just super grateful for everyone that took time to spend an hour with us on this Friday Mastermind. Who do you want to see win in the Super Bowl? I personally really love both teams. You know, the fact that my good friend Todd loves Philadelphia so much. Don't do that.
The big question is, what color Gatorade do you think is going to come out? What do y'all think?
Todd, please. Okay, whoever's the official. I'm just kidding. So I wouldn't be cool with that, but then of course, you know, Mahomes and the Chiefs. Even though I'm a Bronco fan, I mean, who's not a Mahomes fan?
Hey, Dave, I thought we were friends, man. Come on.
Dude, you gotta love Mahomes.
You know what? If Mahomes out there on his bad ankle can kick the Eagles' ass, then absolutely they deserve to win. He's the difference maker, and it's going to be a great game, I think, regardless. I'm hoping it's super close, and I'm hoping the Eagles win on a last-minute touchdown.
There you go. I hope for a super great game. Take care, y'all. This is a wrap.
All right, Pete. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Todd, Deb.